This planned community, sooner or later, we're going to wind up with a situation where somebody's going to want to remove the deed restriction. I mean, if it's not today, it's not tomorrow, it's not 5 years, there's going to be some black swan event where, you know, they're scraping bottom, they can't rent them out, and something is going to happen. There's going to be a black swan event, and they're going to want to remove the deed restriction, and there you're going to be, with all these people from lower echelon, yes, and I said lower echelon, all 200 of them filled with kids hanging out, and spray painting walls, and all that junk. And if it ain't today, it could be 10 or 12 years from now. You know, black swan events, as I just named 3 of them, that I never thought I would see this country being involved in. We've got people that have been fired because they're communists. I never thought I'd have a president hire a communist named Van Jones, or hire a woman that says her favorite 2 people are Mao Zedong and Mother Teresa. I never thought, and you know what, I say this, and you know, you might think that this is like, you know, it's a little humorous, but I never thought these things would come about in our country. And yet, once these 200 units are in, man, they're cemented. And sooner or later, there's going to be the proverbial black swan event, and you're going to see what happens to the neighborhood then. Everything's going to go right down the tubes, and no Roto-Rooter man's going to be able to clean it out. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, come on, man. You got to recruit him.
I just want to say something real fast. These PACs, adult planned communities, to me they're legal loopholes in our building and zoning laws, and they shouldn't even be in there. Okay, and these builders are using it to their most to get as many units as they can in with these adult communities. And you guys are our last line of defense against overzealous builders.
John?
Let's see, I have one thing to revisit, which is the relationship between the undeveloped portion of the non-wetland, which happens to be the road frontage in front of Route 207, right in front of the entry to this place. So I foresee, if there is a traffic light, it has the interesting effect of turning that road frontage into high-value property. So, you know, I don't know if you can call it mathematics, but let's say from the track record of other developers that we've witnessed, that to me looks like there's a plan beyond the plan, which is to turn that into additional development along the strip, along 207. So I just wanted to say that this is just one thing. And it sort of doesn't matter what's constructed, where that entry is. If there's anything with enough traffic to trigger a traffic light installation, it will change the whole character of that area and just perpetually add expense to us, the community. The other thing I wanted to mention is, in the event, let's say, for instance, we move that entry to the natural entry to that property, which is already on Everett Road. Okay, so we've taken the problem off of 207, but we just moved it down the street. So that many cars on Everett Road would just move the traffic light down the street. And what I wanted to point out about that particular spot, and I just want to outline that future vision, is when I drive home from work, I'm at that intersection every day, and you're waiting to make a left turn, and now, I know people who've died in that spot, and many of us probably have, and I've wondered why isn't there a traffic light there. But if there were a traffic light there, the cars would queue up, and that turn is blind in either direction. If you're coming from Campbell Hall, and cars start queuing up around the corner, it introduces a new spot for a potential collision. So there's sort of a good reason why there's no traffic light there, and that's because we're sort of damned if we do and damned if we don't. And so there's sort of no safety increase by having a light there. And you think about these things when you're at a spot and the traffic's bearing down on you, you know people have died right there. And it's just, additional consideration. We've got a bad traffic spot, and it's all on that strip, basically all the way out of Goshen until you get beyond Everett Road. And there's nothing we can do except make it worse.
Thank you. Okay. I'd like to put in the record. Oh, please.
My name is Michael Cheney. I live on 18 Evans Road currently, as I lived there most of my life. And I have all of the same concerns as my fellow neighbors, but I guess one additional concern that I didn't have before I came into this room was something that Mr. Oster said, referring to this as being a learning curve for all of us, and that we were kind of guinea pigs. And I'm paraphrasing, but he did use those terms. And that not only concerns me, but disturbs me a little bit, because I certainly don't want to be a guinea pig, nor do I want my children who are growing up, going to Goshen schools, being guinea pigs also. They have their own learning curves. They have to go to school. They have to grow up in this community. They don't need environmental impacts on them also. And I'm sure the rest of our community feels the same way.
Good. See if I can clarify a little bit on that regard. Prior to this time, prior to our last master plan and zoning and coding, special use permits in some cases were given out by the planning board. And when we changed the code, we thought some of them should be retained by the town board. And so that is new. And so that's the newness that we're talking about. Are there any other comments from the public on this one? I would like to not read into the record, but there's I've heard from other residents. Well, of course, this is one from John Harrigan, so I've got that one. But Helen and Ken Sullivan, I think it is the name. Oh yeah, Sullivan. Ken and Helen Sullivan. We've got a copy. They wrote in and sent us this. And I guess that's the only two I can have. Yeah. Okay. So, what we're going to do, I reviewed this with our attorney for this particular thing this evening. We do have a request of the county for a general municipal law report 239-N. Don't know when that's going to be given to us, but that's they're going to be looking at this application as well. Give us their input. So the plan will be is to continue this public hearing, not close it until we get that report. If the applicant wants to speak again, they're certainly welcome to do that as one final report for us. So with that, would someone like to make a... Well, by the way, Mr. Farrell, you were talking about one of your engineers clarify something, was it? You still want to do that? Okay. So what I'd like to do, would someone like to make a motion to continue this public hearing regarding Timber Trail LLC until August 23rd, which is our next one out, it's the second work session in August.
So moved. Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. I would absolutely like to thank all the public. This is your town, as is the applicants. This is where we live. This is the process. We will certainly take everything that everybody says seriously. Nothing is going to be discounted. We'll look at it all and discuss it. Okay? So thank you very, very much for coming out this evening.
Thank you. You home safe?
Now, the next item, well, I'm going to give a moment while everybody leaves and doesn't want to stay.